Hello and welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's been a few years, but I put together a new studio, and in this first video of this series, I'm going to kind of show you around and tell you what direction we're going in. And so thanks for tuning in. I wrote a book. I wrote a book called The Entropy of Symphony, or the other way around. And I'll be making a lot of mistakes in this video, and I'll tell you why later. So first we're going to move over to the big wall. Just kind of show you around. So this studio is surrounded by 4 what are called PTZ cameras, and they allow me to have different angles, and I can move around and show you different presentations. And we're going to talk about thermodynamics and the laws of physics and how they relate to us being here and our function and how we got to be here and are we alone. So I wrote a whole book about it that you can buy on Amazon, and I'll just give you an introduction today. So we all kind of know that the world goes from order to disorder, and we started out at the Big Bang over here, and this is a basic formula of entropy, and in trillions of years it's just going to be a grand vastness of nothingness. But we're still at the beginning of our journey, about 3.8 billion years into the Big Bang, and what happens is that structures form. And as soon as we switch back here, and so galaxies form, little swirls that you might see in your coffee, solar systems and planets, and eventually on those planets we've got some DNA, dinosaurs, and us. Now, doesn't that seem to go against the second law of thermodynamics that would say that, let's go to the board, that would say that everything goes to disorder? So why should ordered structures such as us be here? So that's one of the questions that I focused a lot on, and I read a lot of books, saw a lot of videos, and put it all together in a book and came up with optimally dissipative configuration. And so what happens is that structures such as us, or in this case an airplane, they're here because they can increase the entropy of something else. So in localized systems, we're allowed to have swirls and airplanes and humans so long as overall the entropy of the system increases. And so it took me years to kind of put that together, and I'm going to be doing these shows live, and over time we're going to see that there's improvement. So I'll be able to do better lighting, be able to speak better in front of a group, and that improvement we might call intelligence. And so how does that relate back to the intelligence of the universe? That's one of my big questions that I write about even in the preface of this book, is that we would call human intelligence, the problem solving, the creation of things, as being uniquely human. But how does that relate to the universe, building galaxies and solar systems and even us? And so for that, we're going to meander over to the Holodeck over there and see if we can make some sense of what people have figured out. So we're still at the schoolhouse here. From here I can show you a bunch of different types of videos, including YouTube videos. And here we're going to have Sean Carroll kind of explain to us, I think, what I kind of just got into just now.
In fact, life itself may have arisen because of entropy. The early Earth had pockets of low entropy conditions full of useful energy, like warm alkaline vents on the ocean floor. But there may have been no simple chemical reaction that could take advantage of that energy, use up its usefulness, and allow the entropy to increase. There were, however, more complicated chains of reactions that could do the job. In just the right circumstances, an appropriate network of chemical reactions might find a way to sustain itself by tapping into the useful energy in its environment. Some networks might have become embedded in molecular membranes, the precursors of cell walls, and broken away from their point of origin, becoming the first living organisms. Maybe that's how life began, a complex combination of chemical reactions that figured out how to tap into otherwise unavailable useful energy. We can tell a simple...
Okay, I'll stop it there for now. We're going to see this again and again. It took me so many times to try to comprehend what they're talking about. Sean Carroll, actually, he wrote The Big Picture, I believe. Great book, life-changing for me. And here he's suggesting that those ocean vents had so much potential energy in them, and over millions, hundreds of millions of years, in fact, the world was doing its thing. These atoms and molecules were moving around with driving forces, and once in a while, a random structure would occur that would actually release a lot of that potential energy in those vents. And over millions of years, that can create a more and more complex structure that can even... And so these are paints in water, and what I found astonishing about these is how much they look like nebulae in the sky. And in future videos, we're going to more slowly look at these and see how that things that we can create with our human intelligence is so similar to what the universe created with its intelligence. So next we're going to go back to the wall. We're going to get rid of this guy. And so remember when I said that atoms and molecules form randomly all the time, but once in a while they form into a structure that would facilitate the release of energy. So we have a complex structure allowing potential energy to be released, thereby increasing the entropy. And so this is kind of what this model here simulates. So I've got all these ping pong balls with magnets on them, and if they were moved and shaken up, they would form new structures. And this is what this kind of shows here, like that. We're gonna stop it here and see what we've made. Let's see if I can start this again. So if this represents one atom, on the head of a pin are about millions and millions of atoms and molecules. So imagine a head of a pin multiplied by the surface of the planet, and having this occurring for millions and hundreds of millions of years, and eventually structures occur that allow the release of potential energy, thereby increasing the entropy of the surroundings while having a localized complex structure. And we're going to do this again and again. I'm going to bring live shows. And also the fact that things always gravitate towards more complex systems in order to get better is both the intelligence of the universe and the intelligence of humans. And I was obsessed for a long time about this concept of duality that humans may have, where I know I'm part of the universe, and yet I feel separate from it. And why is that? What is the difference between me and the universe? And there seems to be some kind of a blockage there. But we're not going to do everything on this first video. Now we're going to go to the mezzanine, I believe. We're going to go, nope, we're going to go to it first. Let's see if I can do that. Go up here. Hey, we haven't seen Nebula yet today. That's my pet cat. Okay, so we're up here on the mezzanine, and we have Julie, our dinosaur, here. And I call this the Galileo corner, hence the telescope. So a few hundred years ago, a guy named Galileo Galilei, he had a telescope, and he discovered that all the other suns and planets and stars, the Earth was not the center of it. He realized that the Earth is one of many planets going around the sun and as part of the stars. And so that was a very controversial thing to to bring up at the time, because the church would say, no, the earth is the center of the universe and the sun revolves around it, and that's just how it is. And that's all they had at the time, and so it was fact. You couldn't even suggest something else because there was no science to show people things differently. And so this is kind of what I find us doing here also when we're suggesting that there are physical ways, and through the laws of thermodynamics we can explain how and why we're here, and are we alone, and is there a difference between the intelligence of us and the intelligence of the universe? So today we have real answers for that, and I'm very excited about it, and this is why I dedicated this whole space to it. And we're going to get deeper. I'm basically going to teach a course based on the book about how we came to learn all of these things. And I'm very excited about that. So let's go back to the desk and finish off this here video. And I plan to do this pretty much every day or every week and go live. If I'm going to talk about now some of my goals of this channel and what the whole point is. And I'll say it again that it's very imperfect, this first video, and I don't expect anybody to see it really, but maybe in 10 or 20 years when this is a common way of thinking and knowledge, that we can go back to this moment and see where it kind of all began. And I'm humble to show you this, and I'm humble to show you my imperfections. And what will happen is that over time, after 10, 20, 100 videos, I should be able to do this smoothly and maybe put a documentary together, maybe have a Netflix or a Hulu or Amazon special or something. But that's way off. It's a dream, and I'm passionate about this stuff, and that's why I'm presenting it to you. And so my goals are to maybe make a few friends. If there's anybody out there who's into this kind of stuff, you can be my friend. And what just happened there is that this camera shuts off after half an hour, and it just did it. And that's something that maybe someday I'll fix or get a better camera. So let me read through some of my notes here. So I do wish to caution that this stuff is controversial, and I don't expect to be talking to people who are not open to science or the truth or things that go against their very specific belief systems, including thinking or knowing that everybody else is wrong if they don't believe like they do. So that's kind of an old way of thinking that's going away because the world is becoming more diverse and more incorporated. And so we're going in that direction anyway. And here is kind of a universal and unifying law or theory that I'm presenting to you that seems to work. And so if you're excited about this kind of stuff, write me a comment or a question, and I will acknowledge it on the next video. And I'm very excited about that. I want to make friends all over the world. This is like my ham radio to communicate with other people who might think like this. So please put your questions together and send them to me. And yeah, that's about it for now. I'm going to publish this. It was all done live in one take. And we'll see you next time on Entropy and You.